I'm Roy Simpson, and I've been in the land business for a few years.
A few years?
And I've been in, to some degree, in the hardwood bottomland business too.
Yeah, bottomland hardwood management business for a long time also. I'm Chad Kearse with Kearse Land and Timber, but I also was involved with Kearse Manufacturing Company. We manufactured hardwood veneer since 1924 until about a year ago.
And I'm Robbie Griffith, forester with Southeastern Agribusiness in Athens, Georgia.
And
admiring this beautiful hardwood forest.
Chad, tell us a little bit again about the history of this whole operation of yours here.
My grandfather was in the logging machinery manufacturing business, and he started that. He went to work for the Moore Dry Kill Company in probably about 1910 and worked with them until 1923, and then he started our company in 1924.
And these are family lands that y'all have owned for many, many years.
Yeah, this is one of the more recent acquisitions, and I say more recent. We purchased one just 2 years ago that I'll take you in this afternoon we can look at. But this would be one of the more recent ones, and it was purchased in the early 1970s.
And this is in a partnership, a family partnership,
yep, that
Mr. Simpkins has asked us to ask you to consider selling to new owner.
Yeah, just part of it. I'm just going to show you some of the tracts that we could probably put together a package for.
And we might add that when I talked to him about the possibility of him selling some lands, which they haven't in the past been prone to sell any land, but at any rate, he would only consider selling it if he could sell it to someone who would steward the land in the same high standards that he and his family have done.
That's right.
He doesn't want to sell it to somebody that's going to just butcher this timber and mine the land for maximum dollar out of hunters or development or anything else. And all these forests are certified, which gives them additional value, and it just is an indication of the high standards he's been maintaining as he managed his forest.
Yep. But this is an even age stand, and what's interesting is you can see the dominant trees, and yet that white oak there, even though it's only 10 inches in diameter, is the same age as these dominant trees. That's what's so interesting, is that all these stands are even age stands. They all came back, and that's the natural cycle here. You see these blow down? When you put 130 mile an hour wind in here for over an hour, there's not going to be anything left. I'll show you what would be left. That cypress tree there would be left. Probably, maybe, one of those black gum trees might be left. And some of the ironwood. And everything else is going to blow down. There's not going to be anything left. And we know this because of Hugo. I can go into stands that look just like this before Hugo. If you harvest a hardwood stand correctly, like I just told you, in the wintertime, and you give everything a chance to come up at the same time in the springtime, you will get back the same species composition that you had originally if you do it the right way. So if you look around here, you see a lot of cypress with an occasional sweet gum and an occasional oak. I guarantee you go to that stand now 40 years from now, it's going to look very similar to this in species composition. You have almost the exact same species composition.
And talk about the cypress, what it really is and what it brings and what it's used for.
It's the most valuable tree out here right now. Like I said, it brings, you know, $350 a thousand on the stump, you know, per 1,000 board feet. And the ash. I mean, we're in a very valuable stand here because your composition is cypress, ash, and red oak with a minor component of elm and gum. and that's going to be the most valuable species composition on this site.
And how long does it take to grow this cypress?
Well, like I said, you'll reach your maximum value increment at probably between 60 and 75, age 60 and 75. You'll reach your volume increment much earlier than that. But you're adding on that extra quality diameter-wise on these trees. And like I said, this cypress is export grade. There's a lot of this being put in containers and being shipped out of Wilmington, North Carolina. But just about every one of these cypress trees in here is export grade.
Would they export the logs or export the logs?
Logs, yep.
And where would it go primarily?
You know, a lot of it used to go to Spain. I don't know where a lot of it's going. They make millwork out of it in Europe. I imagine a lot of it's going to Germany. That's all they do at Denmark. It's all for millwork.
Well, what about this ash? Where is its best market? I mean, you know, you think about the furniture industry in North Carolina. What about now?
Being exported. Being exported.
That,
yeah.
I mean,
70% of all the hardwood lumber this manufactured in the country now is being exported to China.
And where is it, what port does it go to?
Well, around here you got, I guess, Battle and those guys ship out of Savannah. I think Beasley and Battle probably ship out of Savannah. And that's why they like the FSC certification. They're not selling the FSC stamp, but they're all procuring under the FSC control wood policy. Capstone's under FSC control wood, International Paper is, Battle is, and Beasley's getting ready to.
Talk about the FSC certification, please.
Well, this land, we were the first private landowners in the state of South Carolina to adopt FSC certification, and we did it because we were in the hardwood veneer business, and our customers were asking us for it, specifically asking us to do it. And so we got involved with it in 2000, and so I've been through 12 audits now and never really had any problems whatsoever. We haven't really changed our management around to adapt to it because we were doing the right thing already. And so we've not had any problems.
And what does it actually mean?
Well, it means that you are managing your land sustainably, that we only harvest what we grow. And that is one of the key facets of FSC, is that you can get into an over-harvest situation if you have a justification for it or it's a temporary thing. But for the long term, over a 10-year, let's say a 10-year period, you need to prove that you're only harvesting your growth. And that's pretty much where we're at. We've only harvested what our growth rate's been on our property.
But do you get credit for time in your harvest like you just mentioned back here, so you get optimum regeneration?
Yeah, it's all part of it. You have to have a plan. You have to have, I'll show you our management plan. It's that thick. You know, it's very detailed. You have to have a reason for, like we were talking about, our hunting lease policy. You have to have policies for how you manage your land. And it goes, like I said, he was asking us about the hogs. Well, that's an invasive species. We have to have a control policy to handle those hogs. We have to have a control policy for wisteria, kudzu, you know, all those things that go into doing good forest management. And it's a lot of paperwork, but then again, it makes you think about what you're doing. But that's why foresters are scared of it. They don't want all that extra paperwork. And until you can get extra money for it, it's hard to justify it. But right now, the paper mills are paying more money.
So the certification is an inducement to you to grow because of the extra value you get for the product that you create.
That's right.
And probably extended markets too. I mean, because there's certain markets that will only buy that.
That's right. And it also, especially when you're dealing with, let's say, more sensitive land like wetlands, you know, it gives you good backup. You can always say, well, look, we're being audited by the Rainforest Alliance every year. You know, you're being held to a high standard. And if you can meet those standards, then you can just about meet anybody's standard. That's the natural cycle. So we'll come in and we'll harvest from September to the following April, and during summer we don't do any harvesting. We try to keep all our harvesting done to simulate storm damage. If you log it during the early summer, you give the grass time to take hold, and you just don't have a good start on your regeneration. But like you say in here, the cypress is going to be on these wetter areas, and then when you pick up on a little, see the elevation's only 6 to 8 inches there. There you start seeing your gum, and that's where your oak's going to be. And there is oak in here. You have to look for it, but it's in here. And
you got tulip poplar in here too. I mean,
the poplar doesn't like it quite this wet. Yep, there you go, right there. See that? I knew it'd be in here. There's your oak right there. Yep, see that? And it's going to sit. It's not going to grow as fast in height as the sweet gum and say the ash, but eventually it will push the gum out the way.
yeah, this right here, it looks, what I thought it was an ash, but I believe
Persimmon.
it's an elm, isn't it?
Is it elm? There's some persimmon in here too.
That's persimmon.
Yeah, there's some persimmon in
That
here
ain't
too.
persimmon, I don't know what the,
Yeah.
elm, I think.
But
Yeah, persimmon.
it takes about it takes anywhere from 8 to 12 years for this stuff to come out of that brush phase. But now it's getting to where it's getting ready to really go into a growth phase. And from now to about age 40, that's where you're going to be growing anywhere from a ton to a ton and a half per acre per year. You'll reach mean volume increment at about age 40 to 45, almost double what pine would be. And then your value increment will probably max out at age 60 to 70. That timber there, see, was regenerated around, what, 1918?
Right.
So, it's 95 years old. It's over mature.
Taking that cut-through road, we'd have come through here. So this is the very end of the road. I just wanted to bring you in here and let you see it.
Fantastic stand of wood.
That's the white oak.
Well, I mean, is that only the, is that for Clerk's album, or what do they do with
As long as it is.
All right, tell us about this forest we're riding by right here now.
Well, it's like I said, we acquired this tract probably in the early 70s, and it was harvested. We're farther down the river, so this was probably regenerated.
Said 1922.
Probably 1920, yeah, somewhere in that range. And because we're out near the hill, we're not in the deep bottom, so we got a heavier composition of yellow poplar, black gum, poplar, and pine. You'll actually see some pine mixed in this stand probably. Some sweet gum, but we're getting ready to go down to into the more bottom